Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me in English as well, please? Well, there are three words that open any heart, three main words. The first one would be please. And I'm going to ask you, please, to stop your left hemisphere, your judgment. Leave it resting for a while. If you still have it active after these wonderful days that you have enjoyed what you love, what you feel passionate about. Also, I will say sorry. Sorry if whatever me or Celia are saying that do not fit with your beliefs and values. We're sorry about that, but it's just our opinion about things. We just want you to listen. If you like it, embrace it. If you don't like it, well, throw it away. It really doesn't matter. It is useful for us, and that's why we talk about this. And we talk about it with our open hearts. And then our third word is thank you. And I want to thank you. I want to thank my sister, first of all, for inviting us. But thank you all for being here. It's a great pleasure and an honor to be here with you. And I'm so happy that Amelia has allowed us this little bit of piece of time. These things change our life, they save our life, and we hope that these things can help others as well. So let's start. The Bates method, natural vision. When my sister was talking to me about these things, I thought, wow, that's interesting, but I think it's impossible. And I said, it cannot be. How can you change your vision? She had even more diopters than I have because she studied like a lot. She was always studying a lot every single night. We did blood packs saying we're going to study till 5 o'clock in the morning to be good students. She said, no, I'm so tired. And no, you have done a block path with me. So you have to fulfill your path. You have to keep on studying. And she kept on studying and studying and studying. And she had terrible eyesight due to that. So we seem to have a myopia race to see who had more diopters. I think you ended up in 275, and I think I started with 0.50, and I end up almost after 225, she 250, 75, sorry, 275. But she was able to reduce her diopters. And I said, how much? Just one? And she said, no. I think I'm in 0.50. And I said, no, that's not possible. And so what I like to do is to show myself and show others that things are possible and that the impossible can happen. And that's why I do coaching, emotional intelligence, and I train other coaches, and I can walk on fire if necessary without burning myself, and I can teach people to do that. And this is a metaphor of life. And this is a way in which we can actually reach the impossible things. And I said apparently because what's real, what's possible, what's not, what are the limits that we have? And I just wanted to make this very practical, and I wanted to try to see this from the perspective of the brain. So I'm going to do a very simple dynamic. You can do it on your chairs, don't worry. I will get on top of this platform so that you can all see me, but stay where you are. And let's make the impossible possible, okay? So first of all, you have your hands like I do, please. Copy my hands, put the hands exactly as I do, and then I will count up to 3 and we'll clap. 1, 2, 3. Now we will move our thumbs and we'll turn them the way I've done. Please, can you turn them down now, from up to down? Then on your right hand, your really right hand, not the other right hand. The right hand will go on top of the left. Yes, that's it. And we will try to connect our fingers. Okay, lace your fingers one with another. try to have your right thumb should be the one down after all. Do you have it like that? Have you done it? Good, well done. And now I'll count to 3 so that both thumbs will be upwards. So do what I do. 1, 2, 3. Now move your hands and move your hands the other way. Yes? Have you been able to do it? Yes? No? What has happened? Oh my God. Oh my God.
Tú lo has hecho, ¿no?
Able to do it. Well done. Raise your hands if you were able to do it. 5, 6 people.
Al final de esta conferencia vamos a hacerlo para que el 100% lo hagáis. ¿Vale?
So let's try to make it possible for you to do it. Let's see the difference. Let's see what's the difference between doing it and not doing it. Now, let's talk about the NLP, the Neuro-Linguistic Programming, because once you understand this technique will help people to communicate with the subconscious in order to generate more options, to communicate ourselves with our subconscious being, to have more options, because everything that we do in our life has to do with the subconscious being. Just a 1% has to do with our conscious being. And in order to recover that eyesight, because I can see you all very blurry right now, and I feel I don't have the control anymore, but I'm doing it. Because if my sister says, if you can see someone properly, just go closer and you will see them. Don't worry about that. So what I'm going to try to do is, because the neuro-linguistic programming allows us to get in contact and communication with our subconscious being, you should not lose your natural vision options, your option of having a sharp eyesight. Nevertheless, part of our subconscious being makes decisions without asking anybody whether we should lose or not part of those abilities. We don't know why this happens, but there is a positive intention. Which is that? Well, we don't really know. But Grinder and Bander, the ones that talked about the neuro-linguistic programming in this book called Transform Yourself, they talk about how through the NLP, the neuro-linguistic programming, and the Bates method, they are able to help people to see in 1 or 2 sessions. They talk a lot about the Bates method because these are relaxation visual exercises, but they tend to use hypnosis because they use this NLP to the past of the person. They take the person back to the past when they had perfect vision, and they recover that vision by going back to the place where the vision was perfect. And they came back to the present. They have recovered their vision, but after a few weeks or months, they recover the previous patterns and their eyesight got worsened. Why was this? Well, because they didn't work with the positive intention of the subconscious being. What was the secondary gain of having myopia or having any kind of eyesight disease or issue? So I talk about Amelia about this, and I said we have to connect the NLP and natural vision. There's so many common points here. There's a common ground for us. We could do great things. She has been developing her area. I've been developing mine. And now we are in a process where we can do something together. And I think there's a lot of things that we can do together. Now, during these few minutes, I would like to give you 2 exercises of NLP, of neuro-linguistic programming. The first one is very, very easy and allows you to see that the impossible is possible. And the second one will help coaches and visual teachers how to work with a positive intention, because our subconscious being has developed this positive intention when we developed the eyesight problem. So you have to work with that intention. We should change it for a healthier alternative or a healthier option to help our students. So this is a reframing exercise. This is not an individual exercise because we're in a group, but I'm going to explain it to you and I will do a small sample. This won't work with all of us because we're in a group, but nevertheless you will be able to see the steps. So what are the idea behind all this? Celia will explain a little bit more about neuroscience and the neuroscientific basis of what we have done. So first of all, what's impossible can be possible. So let's become very flexible people. Have you ever read the Four Fantastics from the Marvel comic books? Yes? Well, Mr. Fantastic, Richard, was able to actually be as elastic as he wanted. He was basically as flexible as it could be. So what you need to do is to follow my instructions to be Richard Reed. So, don't stop, wait for the instructions. Find a place in the room, because we're all together and we're all sitting one next to the other. Try to find a little bit of a space. Walk out of the chair, get around, find your own place where you're comfortable. When you have a little bit of a space around of yourself, and you have to be not seated, you need to have your foot separated. You need to be able to, don't worry, just listen for the instructions, don't worry. You need to be able to move your arms without moving your feet and without touching anyone when you're moving your arms. If I am next to someone and I start to touch someone, like Joanna is lovely, but I don't want to touch Joanna, and I don't know if Joanna wants me to touch her. So let's find a place where I can actually move around without touching people or the wall. I need to move around. So try to find a place where you won't have any obstacles, human walls or the booth. Please don't hit the booth. So find your place in the room. You cannot touch the interpreters or the technicians as well, please. Just in case. So find places, the centers. Once people run out of the chairs, stay there because you have all the space you need. And find a good place to be. You can move around, you don't touch anybody. There's more space on the front if you want. Do you touch people, objects, interpreters, animals, or anything like that? Do you have a place where you don't touch anything at all? Don't touch that woman. That's wrong. Good. Well done now. Do you have a space? Can you move around? And I should not speak so fast because the translators are not liking me that much right now. But don't worry. We have solved that issue. So have you found your place? Silence. Shh. It's just 2 minutes. That's it. 2 minutes. So now pay attention. Now you need to put your feet firmly on the ground, and you have to have a relaxed stance, okay? Each feet should not move. Now, where you are, you are. You will not move now. Stay where you are. Don't move at all. Now, your left arm, you stand your left arm. Don't move your feet, please, and now start swinging by moving your hips and try to reach your maximum. If you find the booth, you can say hello, but just try to get to your maximum limit. And now, see where you are. Find a visual reference. I reach this place. I reach this place. Remember this place. Memorize this spot. Remember the maximum limit you have reached when you swing and you move your hips. Remember that place. You got it? Get back to the original position. Don't move your feet. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. If you cannot close completely, try to close them as much as you possible. And be very focused on your body. Breathe deeply. Once, twice. feel
cómo nuestro cuerpo va
your body,
llenándose de oxígeno
how oxygen
con
fills
cada
up your
respiración.
lungs with each time that you inhale and exhale. I've asked Amelia
Que en esta sala
that this room
envolveré
should be sprinkled
un poco de elastina, que es un
with
producto totalmente
elastin.
inocuo
This is a perfectly safe
para la salud
product.
y que nos
Don't
permite que
worry,
nuestro cuerpo
no
se vuelva
toxins,
totalmente
and your
elástico.
body will become
Con
absolutely
elastina vamos
elastic.
respirando,
So
sintiéndonos
breathe in
como
the
si fuésemos
elastin.
cada vez más y más
You are
jóvenes.
more and
De
more
hecho,
young. You're
recordamos
getting
cuando
younger
éramos
every
pequeños, éramos
second. You are
capaces
children now.
de subir
Do you
por
remember when you were
sitios,
kids
por
and you were able to climb
parques
on
de
trees?
juego,
You could go anywhere.
volarnos,
You could
saltar,
bend. You could
brincar,
jump. You could
poder
run for
tocarnos
miles. You were
los
able to
pies
touch
con
your
la nariz,
toes with the tip of your nose.
poder doblarnos,
You were able to
jugar,
bend completely
utilizar
and
todo nuestro cuerpo
play
como
and
si
use your whole
fuésemos
body
esas personas contorsionistas
as one
capaces
of
de poder
the
llegar
members of Cirque du Soleil.
a cualquier sitio.
You could reach any
Y
place
con
you
cada
want.
respiración que llenamos de elastina, todo
Every
nuestro
single
cuerpo,
time that
desde
you breathe,
arriba hasta abajo,
your
se
body is
llena
full
de
of
esta
elastin.
sustancia
Now you're
que nos
full of it.
permite sentir una
You can
sensación de bienestar
feel
profunda
happy,
dentro
safe
de nuestro.
inside of your body.
Y ahora sentimos como
Now,
todo nuestro cuerpo está lleno
feel
de
your body
elastina.
full of elastin.
Eso es.
That's it, that's it.
Muy bien.
Feel it.
Y nos vamos a imaginar por
And
un
now,
momento,
imagine for
visualizándolo
just a
sin
second,
hacerlo,
visualize it with your eyes closed,
cómo hacemos ese ejercicio de
how did we
mover
move
nuestro brazo hacia atrás.
the previous
No solamente
movement,
llegamos al punto
and we go
de
back
referencia
to that
visual
reference
anterior,
that we
sino
had
que
from our
notamos
previous
cómo nuestra
movement,
cadera nos
but
permite
now
ir
our
no
hip
solamente hasta ahí, sino
can get
mucho
farther,
más allá.
a lot farther.
En ese momento
And
decimos
when
en
we
voz
get to
alta,
that moment, we
"Wow".
say, wow.
Eso es.
That's it. Thank you.
Ahora,
And
una vez
now
que hemos visualizado
we have
esto, vamos a
visualized it in our
permitir que sea
minds, isn't
nuestro
it?
cuerpo
Now let's do it
lleno
with
de
our
elastina,
bodies, because our bodies are
nos
full of
permita vivir la
elastin.
experiencia
So let's
con los
leave
ojos
that full
cerrados.
experience. Keep your eyes closed, please.
Vamos a hacer el
Extend
ejercicio
your
lentamente
left arm
y
first,
solamente
slowly.
vamos a abrir los
Left
ojos
arm,
cuando ya no
the real
podamos
left,
más.
not the right, sorry.
Y
And then
seguimos.
move
Hemos
your
llegado
body
más
as you did
allá
before. But
de
don't
lo
open
que
your
hemos
eyes.
puesto
Don't
antes
cheat.
como
Keep your eyes
referencia.
closed and
Diremos en
move
voz
as
alta
far
un
as you
"Guau"
want.
bien alto.
Come on, do it. Move your
Que
hips.
vamos
Get to
haciéndolo,
that point.
llegando más
Close
y
your
más
eyes.
y más.
Close your eyes.
Y
Don't
cuando
cheat.
paséis, vais
And
a
when you get to
decir,
your maximum
"Guau",
top,
bien alto.
open your eyes and say, wow.
Un aplauso muy
That's
fuerte para
it.
todos.
A
Nos
big
sentamos, por
warm
favor.
clap. You can go back to
Wow.
your seat. Thank you very much.
Volvemos a nuestro sitio.
Yo no había hecho este ejercicio.
Sí, ¿no?
Sí, con Carmen y Margas.
No, no la conozco.
Seats, please.
¿Cómo era este?
Vale, nos vamos a ir sentando
Please be seated,
porque quiero ahora,
because now,
después de hacer este ejercicio,
after this exercise, where we have worked with visualization, we have done a bit of a hypnosis,
pero muy rápidamente, como veis,
very
dura
fast.
5 minutos
It's just
apenas.
5 minutes exercise, as you have
Nos
seen.
permite entender que
Now,
podemos hacer mucho
we
más
see that we can
de
do
lo
a
que
lot
pensamos.
more than what we
Podemos
think we
llevar
can
la
do.
parte física, nuestro
Our
cuerpo,
bodies
llevarlo a sitios donde
can get
pensábamos
to
que no podíamos
places
llevar.
where we
Y
never
eso con
thought
la
we were
visión
able to
natural lo hacemos
get.
todos los días.
And you can do that
Llevar
every
nuestro
single
cuerpo
day.
físico
You
a
reach
través de
physical
ejercicios y
limits
visualizaciones
through
a
exercises,
llevarlo muy lejos.
through
Entonces, quiero
visualization to places where
el
you never
ejercicio
thought you
ahora
could reach.
de,
And
del
now
encuadre en
we
N
are going to
pasos,
do a reframing
creado
exercise.
por John Grinder y
This was
Richard
created
Bandler
by Madler and
en su
Grinder
día para ayudar a que nuestro subconsciente
because we have to help our
nos
subconscious
ayude en
being
este proceso de cambio.
to help us to change.
Básicamente sirve para que
And how
esa
do we
parte
do
de
this? Well,
intención
because
positiva
we want to use that
esté
positive
mantenida.
intention
Es decir, hay una
to
intención
keep it.
positiva para perder nuestra vista. Puede ser
There was
protección,
originally an intention to lose our
necesidad de
eyesight, to
seguridad, el no
protect
querer ver
ourselves,
ciertas cosas que
to avoid
emocionalmente
seeing
no
certain
nos
things that
van a
emotionally
ayudar.
we're not going to be helpful.
Y nuestro mismo cuerpo lo que
Our
hace es
bodies
tensarnos
tend
para
to
impedir
stress themselves
que algo nos ataque
to
y eso
avoid
genera, esa
us
tensión
getting
genera que
attacked.
veamos
And that
peor, ¿verdad?
stress is
Bueno,
what
pues hay una
usually
intención positiva,
worsens our eyesight. But therefore, there is a positive intention. Now, we need to tell our subconscious being that we want an alternative option. We might not know what it is, but our subconscious can find it because there are many options available. Usually with 20 years ago, we didn't have the resources, but today we do. And now we want our subconscious to find the other resources that we have to manage emotionally our obstacles, our hindrance, our problems, in order to actually manage what we have inside. And if we do that, we will be able to get a better natural vision. Now, the reframing exercise in steps, it can be 6 or not, but nevertheless, I have one first step. Let's identify in our subconscious the yes and no signals. So that's the first step. Once we have identified the yes and no signals, the next thing is to ask our subconscious if he wants or it wants to work with us. If it wants and can work with us to improve our vision or the vision of those that are with us. Once the subconscious says yes, the third step will be, is there a positive intention behind the lack or loss of perfect natural vision? Once we receive an answer which is a yes, we will go into the next step. Can you be responsible of solving this problem? Before the subconscious being responsible for that, there's also another option of a step, which is, can you find 2 or 3 alternatives options that will keep that positive intention, but without harming my vision? Once we have that yes, then we have the alternatives, and when we have the alternative, we ask the subconscious, will you be responsible of solving the problem? And when it says yes again, we say, well, how long will it take? This is a very simple and magical process. We are not going to have time to do this individually, but I would love to do this in 5 minutes. Can I have 5 minutes, Celia? Is it okay? 5 minutes, that's it. 5 minutes of exercise is really fast, but I need you to be highly connected. Some of you will be more interconnected. I cannot calibrate every single one of you. I cannot help you individually, but I'm going to try to transmit you the exercise so you will understand the steps. And then if you want to know more, my sister Amelia can help us to get in contact so we can get in deep in this area. Are you all okay with this? So this is an exercise where we need to work with our subconscious being, with that part of us that is part of a hypnosis exercise. So I need you to close your eyes. I need you to breathe deeply twice. Be comfortable in your chair. Be as comfortable as you can. Breathe deeply. Ask your subconscious to help you. It's just 5 minutes. You need to connect yourself with your subconscious. Once we have breathed in a couple of times, ask your subconscious being to give you a sign that will mean yes. Please, subconscious being, tell me yes. Pay attention to your body.
¿Qué sensaciones tengo? Puede ser sensaciones en la parte derecha o en la parte izquierda del cuerpo.
Is it on the left or the right part of your body?
Simplemente me dejo sentir.
Feel.
Me dejo sentir. Y vuelvo a decir, por favor, subconsciente, dame un sí.
Please, subconscious being, I want a yes.
Y me dejo hacer simplemente cualquier sensación.
Let your body speak to yourself. Anything you feel could be that sign. And let's repeat the question. I want a yes.
Sentir. Aquellos que hayáis sentido un cambio en vuestro interior, sensaciones, sonidos,
Feel inside of you the sounds, the
cualquier
feelings.
cosa de estas, podéis
Any
indicar en
single
en
sign
qué
might
parte del
be
cuerpo
the
lo habéis
sign.
sentido. Eso es.
Feel it in the body.
Aquellos que lo hayáis sentido muy claramente, le
If
dais las
you
gracias
felt it
al
clearly, say
inconsciente.
thank
Aquellos que no lo
you.
habéis sentido,
If you
no hay
haven't,
ningún problema.
don't worry
Vamos
about
a
it.
seguir con el
We
ejercicio.
will keep on with the exercise nevertheless.
A continuación, le vamos a
Now,
pedir al subconsciente, por favor,
ask your
subconsciente,
subconscious,
dame un no.
I want a no. Give me a
Nos dejamos
no
sentir.
and feel it.
Por favor, subconsciente, dame
Please,
un
subconscious, I need a no.
no. Simplemente me dejo sentir
Feel it.
sensaciones,
Feel the feels.
temperatura de mi cuerpo, en qué lado del cuerpo lo puedo sentir.
On
ese
which
no.
side of my body I felt that no? Has there been a change of temperature?
Puede ser en cualquier parte del
Have I felt something in any part of my body?
Por favor, subconsciente, dame
Please,
un
subconscious being, give me a
no.
no.
Más claro,
As clear as possible, please, if you don't mind.
una vez que algunos de vosotros puede que hayáis tenido
Some of you might have received a clear yes and no.
aquellos que no,
If you
pasa nada,
haven't,
se puede
that's
seguir
okay.
con el ejercicio.
Don't worry.
Y el
We will
subconsciente
continue with the
siempre está
exercise. Our subconscious will help us.
aquellos que tengáis
Nonetheless,
señales
if
de
you
sí,
have your
sí,
clear
claramente
yes and no
identificadas,
signs,
genial.
great, even better.
A continuación,
Now,
vamos a pedirle al subconsciente
I'm going
si
to
por favor
ask
nos
our
puede
subconscious, can you please
ayudar a mejorar
help us?
nuestra visión.
Can you give us a
Subconsciente,
better
¿me
eyesight?
puedes, me
Subconscious
quieres
being,
ayudar
can
a
you
mejorar
and
mi
will you
visión?
help me to improve my eyesight? I let my body talk to me.
¿Me puedes ayudar
Subconscious being, can you help me? Will you help me
a mejorar
to
mi visión?
improve my eyesight, my natural vision?
Si sentimos un sí, fantástico.
A yes in your body?
No pasaría
That's
nada,
great.
simplemente
If you feel a no,
continuaríamos con el ejercicio.
don't worry, we will continue with the exercise nonetheless.
Por lo menos poner nuestra intención
Let's try at least
para mejorar.
to improve,
Subconsciente, de
because
alguna
we
forma,
know
creemos
subconscious being
estos problemas de visión
has created
es
these
quien puede
problems,
ser
and
responsable
it
para ayudarnos
is
a
the
cambiar.
one that can help us to change. Now,
Le vamos a pedir al
we're going to
subconsciente
ask the subconscious
que nos diga si hay una
to
intención positiva
tell us if there is a positive
detrás
intention
de tener
behind
estos problemas de
our
visión.
eyesight problems.
Y nos dejamos hacer,
So feel your body.
dejamos sentir.
Feel.
Si nos dice un sí,
Feel if there is a yes,
si
great.
nos dice un no,
Feel if there is a no, that's okay. No problem, we will continue.
subconsciente, hay una
Subconscious
intención positiva
being,
detrás.
is there is a positive intention behind my eyesight
Que hemos hecho
problems?
esta pregunta,
Once
sentimos
we've asked the question,
subconsciente
feel
responder.
the
A
answer.
continuación, le pedimos,
After
por favor,
that
subconsciente,
answer, we
¿puedes
ask,
encontrar
can you
dos o
please
tres alternativas
find
que
2 or
mantengan
3
esa intención
alternatives
positiva
that will preserve
más
that
saludable
positive
para mí,
alternative
de una forma
in a
distinta,
healthier way,
para que
in a
pueda
different
recuperar
way,
mi visión
so that I
natural?
can recover my natural
Subconsciente, ¿puedes
vision?
encontrar
Can you
dos o
please
tres
find
alternativas
2 or 3 alternatives
que sean saludables
that might be healthier,
para que yo pueda
so that I can
esa
recover
visión
my
natural?
natural vision?
De nuevo, si el subconsciente nos ha dicho sí, seguimos.
If there is a yes, great. If there is a no, that's okay. We will follow with the exercise
Vamos a preguntar al
nonetheless.
subconsciente,
Now,
por subconsciente,
dear subconscious,
¿te puedes responsabilizar
can you be
de hacer lo que
responsible
tengas que
and
hacer
take on the responsibility of
para
doing
que
whatever
esto
it
se lleve a buen
needs
fin,
to be done
que esto se
to
realice?
solve the problem?
Por favor, subconsciente,
Please, dear
¿te
subconscious
puedes
being,
responsabilizar
can you take on the
de que esto
responsibility
sea
to
de la forma adecuada y correcta?
solve the problem in an adequate fashion?
Le das las gracias al subconsciente
Then we say thank you
de nuevo.
again.
Finalmente,
And finally,
le preguntas,
we ask the subconscious,
¿me ¿Me puedes ayudar
Can you
desde
help
ya
me
mismo?
now?
Subconsciente.
Dear
¿Me puedes
subconscious,
ayudar
can you
desde ya
help me
mismo?
now?
Si es un sí, simplemente abrimos
If the
tiempo de
answer is
silencio.
yes,
Si
that's
fuese
it.
no, podemos preguntar.
If the answer is no,
Si no es ya, es antes
can we
de
ask,
7
okay,
días.
if now is not an option, can it be before 7 days?
Podemos seguir ahondando y
If
llevarlo
now is not an option,
2 semanas.
can it be before 2 weeks? If it is no, can it be before 2 months? Can you tell me when?
El tiempo que el subconsciente necesite
The time that
para
you
poder
need
ayudarnos
to help
a
us
recuperar nuestra visión.
to recover our natural vision, whatever the subconscious needs. Finally, we give thank you. We thank our subconscious. If the answer has been quite specific, great. If they have not been that specific, that's okay. We still say thank you. And we honestly try to have a clear intention to help ourselves to recover our natural vision. And we know that our subconscious will be our greatest ally. And we will need to wait, yes, but we will wait to get to our objective. So now move your hands, your feet, you open your eyes, and you come back to the here and now.
¿Qué tal? ¿Cómo estáis?
How do you feel?
¿Bien?
Are you okay?
Genial.
Good?
Pues esto es el ejercicio. No
This is
tiene
the
mayor
exercise.
misterio.
That's
Simplemente
it.
es cuestión de esperar
Now
y
you
ver
have to
cómo va
wait
evolucionando. Es un
to
ejercicio
see the
maravilloso
evolution. It's a
que tiene
wonderful
un resultado
exercise
fantástico,
with
no
amazing
solamente en visión
results,
natural, sino en muchísimos otros
not just
ejercicios.
in natural
Y por mi
vision, but
parte,
in
en
many
esta parte
other
ya termino,
areas.
salvo que al
And
final
this
me
is the
recuerdes
last
que
part of my
os voy a decir
intervention.
cómo hacer posible lo
I
imposible,
promise to
¿vale?
tell you how to
Y ahora
make
os dejo
possible
con
the
Celia, que
impossible.
os va a
And after
contar
that, I'm going
cosas
to
sobre
leave the floor to
neurociencias. Un
Celia
aplauso para
because
ella.
she's going to talk about neuroscience.
Gracias, Enrique. Uy.
Thank you, Enrique.
Bueno, he dicho Enrique y me ha sonado fatal. Quique.
When I said
Quique.
Enrique, it
Bueno,
sounded horrible
ahora
because
vamos
my
con
brother,
Celia.
so for me it's
Celia,
Kike.
bueno,
And now
es una
Celia
amiga porque
is a
ella trabaja en
friend.
la escuela de Quique
She works
y
with
ella es
Enrique,
bióloga.
and she's a
Pero me
biologist.
interesa cuando le hablé de esto del
But
método
when
Bates,
we were
porque
talking
claro,
about the
uno
Bates
cuando
method,
aprende esto del método Bates no para de hablar de
because
esto, ¿no?
when
De
you
repente
know
como
about the Bates
transmitirlo
method,
y
you
todos
want to
lo
talk
digan
about it
también.
with everyone.
Entonces
You
ella
want
empezó a
everyone to
sentir
know about
curiosidad
this, so she
también
started to be very curious about
y
it.
dijimos, bueno, ¿por qué no
And we
mezclamos
said,
esto
why
de
don't we
la
mix
neurociencia, la
neuroscience,
plasticidad del cerebro, de
the
lo que tú
plasticity
sabes
of the
tanto, con
brain
esto
that
del
you know
método
so
Bates? Así que
well
estuvimos
with
haciendo
the Bates
sesiones,
method. So we
en fin,
did some
ella nos va a
sessions,
contar cosas
and she's going to
interesantes.
tell you
Vamos a escucharla.
very
Un aplauso.
interesting things. So I'm going to leave her the floor.
¿Se me oye? ¿Sí?
Can you hear me?
Fenomenal.
Can you hear me?
Muchísimas gracias.
Thank you.
¿Os ha gustado?
Did you
las
like
dinámicas
our dynamics?
de mi maestro?
The
Y uno de
dynamics
los,
of my master
trainers
and one of
fundamentales
the
para mí en
best
esto de la
trainers
programación
in
neurolingüística. ¿Os ha gustado?
neuro-linguistic programming. Did you like it?
Fijaros que es un ejemplo.
Because
Al
this
final
is
es un
nothing more than an
ejemplo.
example.
Por ahí aplausos
Yeah,
improvisados.
you
Fenomenal,
loved it.
genial.
That's brilliant. That's the magic of translation. It
Muy
always
bien,
comes
muy bien.
later. But great.
Así me gusta, esto es.
I like that
Lo que
feeling.
nos surja y lo que nos
Whatever
apetezca en
happens,
concreto.
whatever you want and
Bien,
need to
esto
do,
al final lo que
that's
habéis
fine.
experimentado en vuestras
So
propias
what you have
carnes con
felt
estos dos
in your
ejercicios
bodies with these
no
two
son
simple
más que un
exercises
ejemplo
is nothing more
para
than an
ilustración
example, a
de
physical
cómo,
demonstration
de cómo se puede cambiar
of how
nuestros
we can
pensamientos,
change the way we think.
podemos gestionar nuestras
We can manage
emociones,
our emotions.
podemos cambiar
We
nuestras
can
conductas
change our
e
behaviors.
incluso, ¿por
And
qué no?,
also, why
podemos
not,
cambiar
we can
nuestra
change
percepción de la realidad.
the way we see
Esto es
life
así.
and reality.
Fijaros que
And this is how it
cuando-
is.
Dime.
You
Más
only
20
have 20 minutes, that's it.
Traducción. Voy a
Yes.
darle caña.
Well, she's going to speak very fast. We will have to summarize.
no.
So
No
that's
te
it.
preocupes.
Don't worry.
No te preocupes.
No worries.
Espera, ¿por dónde iba yo?
I lost myself, so
Ah,
that's
sí.
very useful now.
Bueno, lo que os iba diciendo, por
Now,
unir un poco,
just to
lo que
join
estabais
the
viendo
main
con la
ideas,
PNL.
when we were talking about
Cuando los
NLP, the
creadores
neuro-linguistic
de la
programming,
PNL
when the
escribieron su libro,
NLP
creadores y
creators and
co-creadores,
founders,
como ha dicho Quique, Grindler, Bandler,
so we
Puselic,
have
etcétera,
Bandler,
ellos
Grinder,
encontraron
Puselic,
como
and
un
Dilts,
contexto,
they
un
realized that there
en lo que
was
se
a
defendía
whole
y se
atmosphere where they were defending and studying
Nada, vosotros hacéis la presentación como lo que se
You can put the slides when you want. That's okay, don't hurry. So they analyzed the fact that the brain was developing until you're a teenager. And from that moment onwards, the brain was a rigid structure, like a block of cement, that cannot actually do anything. It can degenerate, but not generate or develop. So it is a rigid structure. The same thing happened to Bates. When he wrote his book, you know about this book a lot more than I do, because I think it was in 1920, if I'm not wrong. He found himself in the middle of an environment where there was some new developments in the brain research, but it was always from a very simplistic perspective. What they were trying to learn was which areas of the brain were used for every specific cognitive functioning. It was like a puzzle piece, and every piece was part of a specific function. This was done even with complex cognitive processes like memory and learning. But this was the environment in which Bates was developing his own book. But he wrote about his methodology, and if I say something that is wrong or false, just correct me, please. Feel free to do so. He wrote about something which was amazing, because he was using his own experience and expertise with his patients, and he was also talking about that capacity that only geniuses have, because they can see farther than normal human beings can see. He was seeing farther than the reality he was experiencing with his patients. Now, if Bates had been reading that book right now, with all the information that we have now about neuroscience, about neuroplasticity, about how we internalize emotions, how we deal, and what we know about biological processes like stress, probably his method would have been less controversial at the time. And this is the context where we can try to understand what has happened, and now we can know, we can use a left part of our brain to understand the Bates method. As a neurobiologist that is now a coach, that works now as a coach, I've been working in coaching, trying to find a biological reason behind what we do, especially when we coach change. I have that biologist filter. I tend to analyze everything from that science perspective, from my academic training and my experience as a neurobiologist. When Amelia said, let's do something similar here with natural vision, and I said, yes, that's brilliant, let's do it. 24 seconds later, I had a panic attack. And I said, oh my God. It only lasts for a year. Don't worry about that. And during that year, I said to myself, what can I tell these people? They know so much about the Bates method. I am not able to go to the toilet without my glasses on. What can I tell them? How can I be coherent and make sense? After a year having a panic attack, I decided, okay, let's do this. And this became the source of an interest. I decided to want to know more. What did I do? I took my glasses off. Like Amelia said, love your blurries. And I love my blurries and all the corners in my house just as much as my blurry areas. And I saw this quite clearly. And I told people about this, because look what is going on. Look, now with the exercises I can correct my myopia. Look how good I am. These were the faces of the people that were listening to me.
Claro, normal. Os ha pasado, ¿no? Os ha pasado. Menos mal.
You have lived through this, isn't it? You have had the same faces in front of you. Because these were the faces. And in other cases, the technical or scientific smartasses, because visual area is not my field. Amelia wants me to speak slower, but can I do that? Do I even have the time? I found all the faces. These were the faces of the smartasses. But what about refraction and refractive laws, and what about science? And I said, oh my God, where have I gotten myself into? How am I going to explain this biologically? I feel okay. I'll find that explanation. It was easier than I thought, even after all these phases, because all of these phases had to scare me off, but it was so easy. When I started to understand our biology, to explain the Bates method, it was so easy. Piece of cake, honestly, piece of cake. Because neuroscience, recent neuroscience, has given us the perfect tool, which is this. This is what people told me constantly, no. That was what I got every single time. And I said, I'm going to transform that no into a yes. Is it clear now? This was my face. So I said yes. Okay, so I have the yes clear. Now I need a very clear and simple explanation. This is a very recent one. Our brain, every single one of ours, independently of our age, whether we're married or we're single, every single one of us has a plastic brain. The main organ that manages our emotions, our thoughts, our behaviors, that main organ is plastic. Every single experience that we live through, everything that we experiment, generates a new neuron pathway. And this happens whether we want it to happen or not, because this happens even right now. And this, which is the neuroplasticity, does not mean that we get more neurons, but we get more connections between the existing neurons. We are talking of more than 10 million different neurons just in our brain. The potentiality of changing those connections are infinite. And those are the options that we have to change. That's the way we have the best animal species to adapt ourselves to change. Now, we have the biological explanation here. And now our body is ready for change. And in the visual cortex, in the occipital area, we need to talk about Hubel and Weisel. They received the Nobel Medicine Prize in the 80s, and he did incredible research in terms of message coding and decoding, because they were talking about how the brain was decoding the message received from the eyes. Every single visual stimulus that the eyes gather and capture and send to the brain, where these stimulus are decoded. So they started to study also the visual cortex plasticity to analyze how this visual cortex plasticity also did exist. To understand the development of the visual system depends on experience, and so they identify some specific peaks of the brain plasticity, with the critical periods or peaks. You probably know a lot more of that information, because when you try to treat a specific issue, when you are in the middle of these peaks, the results will be less effective. It will be much more complicated. When you had, for example, blindness associated with cataracts from birth, if you don't correct the situation before a year and a half, you will have more complications than if you actually treat the problem the very first year. And for the last 2-3 years, I've seen more essays, and I've seen a lot of them, but for the last 3 years, there has been a lot of papers being published talking about neuroplasticity even after the critical periods. I wanted to bring you one. This was published by Psychological Science in March this year. It's a very recent paper. It's a collaboration group between the Brown University and California University, where it is very interesting because it has a lot to do with the different visual exercises, where they had, for example, a group with a population of different ages groups, and so they were doing a series of exercises for during several days. You can have here the names. You can find it on the internet. I think it was 5 sessions, 1 hour, hour and a half of exercises, and then they assess the improvement of eyesight before and after each exercise. They were doing in contrast sensitivity. And what was really interesting in this study was that those that were between 60 and 70 years old improved almost up to 60% in their eyesight. Neuroplasticity in the occipital area is not just possible when you are young. We are talking of an age group between 60 and 70 years old. We're talking of senior patients, when usually we associate senior with less plasticity and less change in the brain. Our brain is ready and is constantly changing. There are no excuses anymore. That's okay, but why is it so hard? Why do we take so long to do this? I was 2 days without glasses, and it was extremely hard. I gave up because why was it so difficult? I knew my brain was capable of doing it, but the answer was clear. The answer was in myself, in something that went farther than my brain, something that went beyond what biology gave me. And in my case, and I don't know if it was your case as well, I don't know if you can feel it the same way, it was emotional management, the emotional management of change and the responsibility that we have if we honestly want to change. So our brain is constantly changing. That opens up new opportunities, new windows to manage change, to be responsible for our own change. But at the same time, this is a huge responsibility. And sometimes it's scary. It is scary, not always. And not everyone can manage things the same way. And for me, emotional management was very important because not being able to manage my eyesight was very stressful to me. Highly stressful not to see things properly, in order to be sure that if I find someone on the street, I will be able to recognize us. But I was extremely stressed. This is important because stress is a biological mechanism. It also has a positive intention. It was interesting to see my stress response if, for example, a mammoth was following us in the caverns. You were trying to save yourself. But what happens when the stress mechanism happens when you're in the supermarket queue? That is not that easy to manage, isn't it? You're not saving your life. You're just feeling a little bit more self-aware. And usually this stressful response has a lot to do with cortisol in your blood flow. When you get too much, when you have too much cortisol in your blood, because we keep on running from here to there. I'm going to give you an example. 6 minutes being angry, which is something that we have all been through. It's like 6 hours of having cortisol flowing into our bloodstream. So stress has a biological response. We cannot control it fully, but we should be able to manage our responses and that amount of cortisol that we get into our bloodstream in our society, because our life constantly makes us feel stressed. And this is the place where we should think about relaxation, which is part of the Bates method. Without relaxation, it is extremely difficult to manage your emotions in the middle of a change. But there's all the elements that you have to take into consideration. This is just that graphical angry moment. One of the things that cortisol is doing when we're trying to manage things is that our pupil gets dilated, which is basically mydriasis, which is the dilatation of the pupil. Usually has a lot to do with our biological responses. What we tend to find, we see usually is how can we manage emotions, the emotions that are born out of the change, especially when we have to work in these exercises, and then there's the responsibility. And the responsibility lies on us because it's so difficult to change. Even though our brain is perfectly ready to change, our brain has their own mechanisms that tries to block change. These are survival mechanisms. These are fear responses. What we say in coaching is to get out of your comfort zone. But this is such an easy example to understand. My eyeglasses, my prescription glasses, were my comfort zone. Obviously, I was so scared without them. The way in which I live with them, my routine changed completely. But there was a good news after all, because we have another biological mechanism that helps us and is stronger than fear, and it's called motivation. And it's so much stronger than fear. And it's biologically regulated by hormones, so that we can activate learning, we can focus our attention without additional efforts. We need motivation. We need to find motivation. We need to release dopamine, which is the hormone that stimulates attention. And without our eyeglasses, because people come and tell you, you should do this, you should take your glasses. Without motivation, without a real motivation, we're not going to be able to get out of the comfort zone. And this all has a biological reasoning behind it. We need to overcome the different mechanisms. We need to find our motivation. Whatever it is, whatever it takes, find your motivation so that you can release dopamine in order to actually do something. Because doing something is born out of curiosity, but you need something more than curiosity. You need to do things. You need a lot of motivation. This is the gasoline to our engine when things get tricky. So this is all great, isn't it? Brilliant. Yes, we have the biological reasoning. Yes, it's our responsibility, but has someone done it? A lot of people in this room have done it. I'm pretty sure of that. But it seemed clear to me to include the example of Norman Doidge, included in the Brain's Way of Healing. There he talks about David Weber from Canada. When he was 43 years old, he got blind due to disease called uveitis, and after several surgeries that were absolute failures, he recovered his eyesight, thanks to the Bates method, and he started to be quite active in the Bates method. So just as a summary, because I'm out of time already, this will allow me to say something that I've always wanted to say, and you will allow me to say it. We have the biological basis, is our brain. We have... I love it in English. In Spanish, it doesn't look good. Thank you. The slide does not look good in Spanish. So we have that. We have our own responsibility, the need to find our motivation, and we have the fact that it's possible. People have done it. So Now, because I'm high as a kite, because I'm talking here with you, and I'm having the time of my life, I'm going to share a moment with you. And I do believe that we can. Yes, we can. I take them off. Just for you.
Sí, 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 sí.
Bueno, muchas
Well, thank you, thank you, thank you. We are closing our speech here with what I promised you. And to do this, because we're giving you things, you have to give us something back. You have to do this to someone who is not here. Friends, family, relatives, the people on the bus when you go back home. Do you promise that you will do it? Okay then. First of all, when we want to do possible the impossible, you need intention. You need motivation. When you want something, you need intention. Second of all, pay attention. Pay all of the attention. Do exactly what I do. Exactly what I do. And what Celia is going to do as well, sorry. So, get your hands ready, one in front of the other. Now, clap, 1, 2, 3, clap. Turn your thumbs inside out. Yeah, that's it. Now, right hand, the real right, on top of the left. And lace your fingers. Now, this is the tricky part. This is the key of the trick. Your right thumb, the right thumb has to be the one on the bottom. Right thumb on the bottom. Can you move it? Right, sorry. I was right. Move it around, move it around. And now 1, 2, 3, up. You go up, both thumbs up. I don't have eyeglasses. I don't see a thing. That's okay. How many have you managed to do this? We don't have time, so I'm going to give you the clue. But after a couple of times, you will find it. You just need intention, silence. Intention, attention, and then concentration and conscience. In this case, we're going to tell you the trick. So pay attention now. This is what has happened. And then you will believe that you can do it, and you will have the responsibility of doing it. And these are the 5 steps that change things in coaching. So clap, turn your thumbs right on top of left, lace your fingers. Now, the key element is to have the right thumb on the bottom. Have you seen how we liberate our hands? Liberate your hands. And then change there, grab that thumb, Have you seen it? One hand and the other hand are one facing the other. So close it, lace it all over again, and fake that you are doing the previous effort, but there's no effort anymore. This is a magic trick. And now change your hands and raise your thumbs. Thank you very much.